Would you guys consider yourselves modern or traditional? Modern women or traditional women?
I don't know if I fall in. I still have a lot of traditional values, but I also do have a lot of modern takes on things. So I don't think I fall into either bracket, to be fair.
Could you tell me, how are you modern and how are you traditional? So like, what traditional values do you have, and like, what about you is modern?
I'm traditional in a sense of, I feel like women should take care of house and home, and I feel like men should be providers of a household. However, I do also feel like in this day and age, I don't really like calling people whores or sluts or things like that. Like, whoever you want to sleep with is who you want to sleep with. Like, it doesn't.
So you're more modern because you're not judgmental?
Yeah, essentially.
Okay. But you do believe in women taking care of the home and men going off to work, basically?
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like it's, as women, you should know how to cook food. You should know how to clean a house. You should know how to just those basic things. I think that's forgotten a lot in this day and age. Women don't know how to cook food, or just they'll know how to drink and go out partying, but don't know how to season food or clean chicken or anything like that. I think that's not something that's as common anymore.
For me, I'd say I'm more traditional. I would only say I'm modern in the sense of I don't like to judge people, but I'm definitely more traditional in the sense of, like, you know, keeping yourself to marriage, taking care of the household, the children, letting the man be the breadwinner, things like that. So yeah, overall, I'd say I'm more traditional.
What traditional skills do you have? Can you sew?
Yeah, I can actually sew.
You can sew?
Yeah, I learned how to sew when I was a kid. So.
Okay, what else?
I clean the house, I cook. Yeah, just take care of the home, really. Like, I'm always cleaning at home, so.
Are you virgin?
No.
No, not that one. Okay, go ahead. Okay, if we're going to go traditional, okay, go ahead.
I think when it comes to matters of the heart, I'm more traditional. What makes me a modern woman is the fact that I'm, pursuing a career, basically, without relying on a guy.
So you would pick one?
Traditional.
You're a traditional woman. Okay. Auntie?
I'm a traditionalist with modern gadgets. So, yeah, I'm not traditional. I'm not modern. I'm just a traditionalist. I tend to like the traditional stuff. I tend to try and follow that way.
They want to know in the chat, what cultural dishes, because everyone said they could cook. What cultural dishes can you cook?
Brown stew chicken, rice, kalulu, curry chicken, roti, dal
Are you Trinidadian or Guyanese?
Trinidadian.
Okay.
What traditional or what cultural dishes can you cook?
Well, I'm Congolese, so I'll make rice and pondu at home. Okay. And for the Congolese people, they will know.
Okay. What else?
Well, a lot of Congolese is like pondu, madesu. I'm not sure a lot of people know about that unless you're Congolese yourself. Yeah, there's a lot of rice dishes. I also like a lot of pasta dishes. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay, what about you?
So my heritage is Jamaican and British, but my ex-husband was Colombian, so I learned a lot how to infuse. So anything from scratch, really, whether that's a fried English breakfast or a pasta meal or a chicken stew or, anything from scratch with love and passion.
Do you think traditional women are virgins?
If you're gonna take the word as it is, then yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I don't think so. No.
No. What do you think, Auntie?
I think the traditional word for traditional women is virgin. Yeah.
I think that traditional women are virgins. I'll tell you why. Because traditional is putting the family before yourself, right? And I think the most, if we're gonna like do the archetype of like ideal traditional women, they're thinking about the family from the time they're like 12, 13, 14. So they don't want to have sex with anyone else other than their husband. Because they don't want to bring that into a marriage. So if we're going to do like the ideal archetype of like what is the ideal traditional woman, I would argue it's probably a virgin.
Yeah, I agree.
Because they're thinking family first from like a very young age. They would never get divorced. Career really isn't first for that. Like it's always family before career. Everything's family first. Is there anything else you guys would add to that I missed?
As far as being traditional.
Yeah.
I think like her attitude as well towards her man is a lot
that's
more
a good one.
submissive
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
than trying to dominate or be in control or even be equal.
Mm.
It's about being able to submit to your man, your husband.
I think sex on tap.
Yeah.
For her man, right?
For the man, not for the woman, yeah. Otherwise the man won't be hardly getting any.
Mm.
I think that sex on tap when he wants it as much as possible. I think that's what a lot of women will struggle with. Or do struggle with.
Can traditional women cheat ever?
No, if they're traditional, then no.
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 Yeah, they're not going to know about it.
You think a traditional woman can cheat?
Yeah, she can take care of the home and do everything she wants, and then who knows what's going on behind closed doors? You just never know. No, I don't think anyone's perfect. You just never know. She can be all those things and cheat, but how can a traditional woman be a virgin if she's got a family? That's what it doesn't.
I meant like a virgin on her wedding night.
Okay.
What do you think, Auntie?
Wow. That's what I'm thinking when she said about cheating. Oh, wow. No, I don't think, just because she could, I don't think she should.
No, she
And I
shouldn't.
think traditionally they wouldn't.
What % of women do you think want to be wives? And what % of women do you think are happy being single?
In today's day and age.
Yeah. And by happy being single means single today, happy for life being single.
I think a lot more women are happy being single nowadays. I'd say maybe 40% of women prefer being single.
40%.
I think so. Today's day and age. Yeah.
And they would rather be single than with a man they respect and admire.
Okay, maybe not 40, like 30. I feel like
30.
a lot more women now would rather. I know a lot of women that value their career over relationships. I know a lot of women that have not got into relationships because they're so career driven. I think it happens more in this day and age. I'd say about 30 to 40%.
30. Okay, what do you think?
I'll say 20%.
20%?
Mm.
And 80% want to be in relationships. What do you think?
I think if everybody's actually really honest with themselves, I think 100%. Like, who wants to be single for the rest of their life? That's just dead. If you can find a guy that he will look you in your eyes and actually say, you know what, I love you and I want you to be my wife and I want to cherish you forever. Every woman would lap that up unless she's a lesbian.
What do you think are valid reasons for divorce?
Consistent cheating.
Consistent cheating?
Domestic abuse.
Mm.
All right, so I'm going to make a list. Consistent cheating, domestic abuse. What else?
Drug abuse, I think.
Domestic abuse, drug abuse. Okay, what else? Anything else?
Lies.
Lies?
Mm.
Okay. How many lies? Just one?
I just don't like lies. Tell me when I'm out of there.
Okay, consistent cheating, domestic abuse, drug abuse, and lies. Anything else?
If he's a psychopath, like certain mental illnesses, I think definitely could divorce someone.
Poor financial. What's the word I'm looking for? Like gambling.
Mm.
Oh, gambling.
Yeah, or like they don't know, they can't.
On addiction.
Yeah.
Addiction.
An unhealthy addiction.
Yeah, but also one, in an overall.
You know that question you asked Pearl about being happy,
Mm-hmm.
being single? I think that if you broke it into age groups, it'd be different. But if you do like, I say like the 30s and under, and the 30s and over, or 40s and under, you might find there's more unhappy women. Or more women that want to get married the older they get. When they're young, they're happy being single. It's only when they're old and washed up that they realise that, oh shit, I should have had a man back then. I still would have been with him. So I think you might find that if you'd put an age group on it, the answers would have been different.
Do you think a lot of women regret leaving their husbands in hindsight?
I'd say about 75% do.
Really?
Yeah.
3 out of 4, you would say
Yeah.
regret it. Why do they regret it later?
Because they just done it. There was no valid reason. They did it because they could. or because they didn't feel right, or they get bored, or he wasn't paying attention to me. I think if somebody's life is in danger, then you've got a good reason. If there's not, then you haven't. That's my view. So if your life or your children's life or somebody's life is not in danger, then you got no reason to get divorced.
Mm-hmm.
So everything else other than...
Can be worked on.
I mean, when you think about it, if you can get divorced for... I was thinking about this the other day. If you can get divorced for pretty much any reason, like not being happy, not feeling fulfilled, he's not paying attention to me, he's never home, like, then why not just be in a relationship? What's the difference? Like, because if you're married, it's supposed to be for richer, for poorer, through thick and thin. It's like you're supposed to... everything, but like I think
supposed to work through that.
Yeah, I think the Catholic Church, it's like abuse, addiction. Like there's, or if there's some secret he was hiding that you didn't know, but when you got married, but otherwise, I mean, just be in a relationship. Like, why even get married then?
It depends on what section you're talking about. I'm sure monogamy is supposed to be a part of marriage. So I feel like if we've decided to make if we decide to get married and tie ourselves for life, I shouldn't have to accept you consistently stepping out of the household and have to deal with that throughout a marriage.
Yeah, but I think you should vet that before you get married.
Yeah, but I feel like it's an unspoken rule. Like everyone knows you're not supposed to cheat in a relationship or any committed situation unless you've decided to have an open relationship.
When I think of traditional women, there's a certain woman that, and I've told this story so many times on the pod, so but it's fine. I think of, there's a woman, I know she's a relative, she's Catholic, okay? She did not believe in divorce. She would rather die. Like, that's when you really meet someone with a truly traditional mindset, they would rather die than get divorced. Like that, there's nothing you could tell her. And her husband, they lived in Wisconsin, and then her husband like kind of went back and forth. He worked in Chicago. He had a side chick in Chicago, like a whole girlfriend in Chicago. Okay. And that woman, she was Catholic, and she prayed to God. She said, God, please find a way to keep my family together. He left the family, all right, for the side chick. And she prayed to God, please find a solution, help us get back together. And the side chick died.
Amen.
And he came home, and they stayed married, and they never got divorced. And when I think of traditional women, that's who I think of, because she would rather die than leave her man. Yeah. And like, how many women have that mindset of like, she didn't get mad that he cheated. She didn't throw it in his face. She didn't get angry over it and always bring it back up later. She genuinely tried to find a solution, understood where he was coming from, and wanted to keep the family together no matter what. Now, I'm not saying, they had a perfect marriage or we should strive for that, but I just think like that mentality is so rare nowadays. It's like they see Instagram and they think something's going to be better on the other side, and a lot of times it's not.
But I think sometimes from where we're sitting now, the culture's here, we must know some old person that's done that. Because I know a couple. And I actually know that this guy, and I always saw him with his wife, and we used to go out together. And I think I said, "Oh, he's gone." Somebody said, "Where's he gone?" I said, "Oh." I said, "Oh, where's your husband?" I said, "So where's your husband?" "That's not my husband." I was just like, "Okay." I said, "Someone, what's her problem?" I said, everybody said, "That's not her husband. That's not her husband. That's not his wife." I said, "What do you mean? They're always together. He's got door keys, goes to the house. We've all up into the house, He's like another home." And then I met the wife. The wife knew all about it, but that was her husband. And if the wife stepped in, and if they happened to meet, like say they were going to a funeral and the wife was there, she had to step back and hold her place. And because the wife was the wife. She didn't, they all had basically separate lives. The wife's still got the family home, grandkids and everything, and he goes and comes. But the wife's they always have to show her respect because she's the wife. And there's no way on earth that she'd ever give him a divorce. That's her husband, her house, whatever he does outside. But he's there for his grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
He's there for the things that a husband's supposed to do.
But just because something's a tradition, does that mean it should be upheld forever just because it's a tradition?
that's
I
what
believe in
tradition
death to
is.
us part. I believe that if I got married, somebody has to die. One way or the other, somebody has to die. So I'm a firm believer in that, and that's my husband. If I was married and you want to step out, you can step out and step in as much as you like. 'Cause at the end of the day, I'm not getting divorced.
I mean, do you think it's wise to do what's worked or try something new?
I don't think worked is the right terminology though. I feel like the word is tolerated. I feel like there's a lot of tolerating going on because something's a tradition. I don't necessarily think it's worked because back in the day, like my grandparents, for example, it was the same concept. There was no such thing as divorce, and I know certain couples go through disrespect and a lot of abuse and a lot of bad things, but you tolerate it because you don't get divorced. I feel like at some point you have to break that barrier of, okay, so you're not respecting me as an individual or as the mother of your children or as your wife, but I must deal with this because we got married.